Hey everybody, how you doing? Sean here from Compass Strength with Matthew Lebowitz over there in the corner. That's right. And today we are kicking off our client spotlight. This is just a space that we wanted to create just to talk to some of the incredible people at Compass. And I think ultimately just have higher level conversations about health and fitness within the realm of experience. I think there's a lot of people who talk about fitness where they have not an easy path, but it's something that seems artificial. And I think the things that you should listen to in regards to fitness are even, and I'll say this in reference to ourselves, are not always the people who do it professionally, but the people who don't do it professionally, right? And so to that point, we have an amazing guest today, the wonderful, should I use your government name? Jennifer, I don't know your middle name, Melyan. How you doing, Jen?
Hi. My government name, my middle name is Irma.
Irma.
So, hey.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. It's after my grandmother, so hey.
Nice.
I hope you feel bad about laughing at it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
This is part of the personality that we love so much in working with Jen. I know, Matt, you've been working with Jen quite a lot longer than me. I've been graced to have 4 months with her thus far. And you've had, how long have you guys been working together, Matt?
Almost 2 years? Soon? Yeah. Matt is now muted. This is great. This is fantastic.
I'm unmuted. Am I not coming through?
This is like every great like COVID thing you'd see on the news where people are talking about high level concepts. Yeah. So after you, Matt.
I'm definitely unmuted here on at least my computer. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. Yeah, we've been working together for about 2 years now. We started in unconventional circumstances, maybe. You were sort of put into my training situation, probably slightly against your preference.
Absolutely 100% against my preference, yes. I did not want to work with a straight white man. No. No, I did not want to work with you.
But something clearly worked out, and here we are 2 years later about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're excited to do this because we want to obviously highlight your journey, because you've been, you didn't really want to be here working with me, and now here we are, and the progress that you've made despite all the various things that I'm sure will come up here in the next little bit has resulted in getting to a pretty awesome place that is still continuing to move forward at a really good and steady clip. And I think it's a story that is worth hearing for many different folks for a variety of reasons, because your particular circumstances covers a lot of different things that would get in the way and want you, sort of make lots of folks want to stop at various points for perfectly valid reasons often. And we've gone through injuries and recovery. We've gone through really amazing performance goals. We've gone through life situations and all of those things. And so I won't prompt you too much to try to lead this conversation, but it'd be great to hear a little bit about the start of this whole journey and sort of how you've gone along, what maybe you've learned, what you've unlearned and relearned, and sort of how you've gotten to this place now and where it's going, what we're looking forward to in the future.
Yeah, I think the first thing I will say, I think it's important to be captured at some point, is that like I think Matt, you especially, and then Sean, as I'm getting to know you, I feel that similarly. I think what's surprising about both of you is that you're actually inclusive. That's the thing that's surprising, because one of my biases are, I am very biased against masculine athletic looking men in the gym, because my experiences are just like, oh, I'm gonna throw shit on the floor, okay, whatever, and it's very much not like what I need, which is my performance, right? So like I had this big thing, I'm like, oh man, like when I was assigned Matt, I was really not happy. Because I was like, oh man, I have to work with a guy who's not gonna get me, because I have a lot of struggle with the way my body functions and moves, and then kind of like I'm like not the norm, because I am a big person who moves, and that's usually if I'm a big person in the gym space, it's not. I am assumed I can't move, or people don't know how to teach me how to move with the obstacles are in the way, because there is that every single body shape comes with different set of variety, like a different challenges. It's not good or bad, but yeah, I think that's what's most surprising, is that you two support the individual body through performance, versus like there's zero ever any pressure to do any kind of a body change. And I never hear people talk about dieting, which is so important, because that's one of the things that drove me crazy at women gyms, is all people talk about is how they look. And I think that's you two leading by example, and that creates a space where people just don't talk about themselves and their bodies that way, and that's super important. So so that's something that was I wanted to highlight first before answering your question of how it started and how, like, where it is now.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah. Thank you.
So how it started was bad, like not bad, like limited access to cardio, couldn't really do much, and was very tired very quickly. I think we did no swings. It was a really lightweight relatively, and I could not do like a 10 reps on the minute. It was very difficult in the beginning. And I did not want to touch kettlebells. That's also the main thing. I did not want to touch kettlebells. I was like, what is this? No. So that's how that started. Yeah.
Jen, question for you. I know, getting into, I think you touched on something really interesting. And I think something, again, just in the larger point of people being able to connect with this, of feeling so many obstacles and barriers to finding a place that you felt comfortable in. And then being put in a situation that you were very clearly not comfortable in, which I think is a conundrum of this industry at times that, we're very cognizant of. Walking it back just a little bit, your decision to ultimately go to the place where you and Matt connected, like what spurred that? And I just mentioned that because I think so many times people that I've talked to just feel like I don't know the first place to start in place because of a lot of the barriers that they feel that the fitness industry puts in front of them. But what was that kind of moment you decided to take the plunge, that is the wrong word, but like commit to the journey in some semblance of the word?
There was no single moment. Like, I think it's the metaphor I'll use is like loosening a pickle jar.
Okay.
Like,
I like it.
No, because it's really tight, right? And who's to say who loosened it? Because there are other people who came before Matt that gave me the courage to go into the gym, who taught me basics. So it's not all him. He just happened to be right there to like pop the lid off at the right moment. So then now it flows. So it is like, it's not, I don't know what it's just, I've always just thought, okay, I need to go move. And part of that is conversations outside of the space with getting really clear on what my body feels like when it does move and doesn't move. And that's the tricky thing, because like you two know this, and it's like pain and discomfort is part of working out. And like knowing that and not freaking out when there's pain and discomfort, and knowing that like I can overcome it, or it's just part of the thing, and then how much is too much, and then knowing how to push into that zone while being okay. And then that's like a long, forever journey, which I'm sure you two still experience. Like, I don't want to be uncomfortable. No, like no one likes it.
Every session after you guys leave, we look at each other and like, man, I don't want to do this today, man. Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. And it's not, I don't think it's one thing. It's understanding that this is part of it, and then can I choose it, or can I just try? And am I okay with the coach telling me to do it when I really don't want to, and everything's screaming at me? And then trusting to know that, okay, maybe sometimes I'll go too far, and then it won't work out. But then it is really like a messy thing to figure out your own signals. So it's just start. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. So
I think one thing that you had mentioned that I wanted to bring up, which I think is a really good point, and I love the analogy of the pickle jar, is this concept, and you said it really great, in terms of like finding time and patience within that journey, and allowing yourself to get to that moment of like those quarter turns until you feel the resistance start to not part, because it never really goes away, to your point, which is a good one, but just to a place where maybe instead of a quarter turn, it's a half turn at that point. And so, not saying that everything's perfect, because nothing ever is perfect, but in kind of that journey that you had thus far, pre-mat, with mat, with compass, how has kind of that idea of time and patience kind of helped you find a really kind of consistent pace with how you're pouring into yourself?
I think part of that is understanding how the body works.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think because of diet culture and whatever, we tend to think of it as like, I mean, I lost me 24-hour cycle. That's not how the body works.
Yeah.
like it does. It sucks because we're sold like, yeah, do this for 90 days, see results. It's kind of like part of it is giving up that time. Like things are gonna happen on their own space, and you have to. And it took me, I don't know, 10 years to get to this point where I'm like, my body will do what it's gonna do, and I need to trust my body.
Yeah.
And I need to trust myself in my body, and that's really hard to do, especially since we're all we're not engineered. We've been socialized to not trust our bodies. So, yeah.
So that's a great point. I think, something Sean and I talk about all the time, and whenever we talk to potential new clients, we always say our goal is that eventually you don't need us. And the only reason that you stay working with us is because you want to. And there's certain super deep concepts of programming and training and whatnot that is not really of interest for you to go and really hyper learn. And that's why you hire somebody that made it their profession. And sort of to that point, and as you develop the knowledge of your body, if you will, when it comes to the training space, I think obviously when we started, it was a very different sort of goal set, if you will, and
just survive the hour.
Yeah, just get through minute 59. And now we're at a very different place now, where I mean, beyond just the performance capacity of what you're able to do, which I would love to hear more about, but also the sort of broad spectrum stuff of why at this point, after 2 years of this type of training, many more years prior to that, why you keep showing up to the gym and keep doing this stuff, this suffering that you choose to engage in.
Yeah, because this is the only thing that has stabilized my mood and my well-being. Like if I don't move, and I know myself very well, it comes with a lot of self-understand, it's knowledge. I can't do this on my own. I'm inherently, like, I'm inertia personified. I will not move until I'm pushed. Like, if I had my choice, I will be like my dog, sleeping on the couch, eating my favorite foods and looking cute. I'm not I'm not inclined to do these things because it's uncomfortable. I don't like discomfort. And I also get a lot of joy being in a community that supports each other. So not everyone's like that. So that is why I am like, I have to go, because I'm working out consistently. My mood swings were really big, and I have like PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is like you get like 7 to 10 days of extreme like depressive symptoms right before period and post, and then like because the movement has been so consistent, those symptoms have gone down. Like a lot of the mental stuff that's very hard for me has kind of like, it's gotten, so it's maybe before it was at a 10, now it's at a 3. And I think it's just because my body enjoys like that reset. So, or not even a reset. It's like I'm letting the nervous system do what it's designed to do, which is move. And then I feel better because I'm not getting chased by a lion, but in kettlebell club or one-on-one, we're making our bodies do that thing that simulates that, which then we feel better as humans because that's what we were designed to do. So yeah.
I think sort of a underlying thing of what I'm hearing you say is something Sean and I say all the time, is that it's simple, not easy. And I think something for, we always say is like, it doesn't really matter what you do as long as you do something. Like it can be deadlifting, it can be kettlebells, it can be calisthenics, as long as it's something. I'd just be curious to hear a little bit more of your perspective about how to overcome the fact that it isn't easy. Like it's simple, sure, but it's not easy. And I over the years, you've gotten significant, like that inertia or that resistance, I think has increasingly gotten lessened. And you've certainly just the sheer fact of like well, like for example, when you went away to Taiwan for a while, like a lot of folks very easily, hey, a month off, a month and a half off, object at rest stays at rest, be like really hard to get back in. But you, without fail, as jet lagged as you may be, it's like first day you're back, you're there. I'd be just curious to hear for other folks your perspective on how that's adjusted, or maybe advice you have for folks about how to keep that going.
There were two questions and I lost one of them. I think the first thing I would say for me is that it's not a decision. So I know that our brain, our thinking brain is the smallest part of our brain, and it gets exhausted making decisions. So I don't decide if I'm going. I'm going. I need to just go. Yeah. So like I don't decide because that was what I used to run into. Like, well, I don't want to go. Oh my god! And I would decide. So it's like, okay, I just put on my shoes and I go. Yeah. And then sometimes I get anxiety because I don't know what kind of torture is waiting for me. I do feel nervous about it. Sometimes I'm like, oh no, tomorrow I don't want to wake up tomorrow because it's going to be so bad. And I'm like, no, just and then I just go. Yeah. And then it's not a decision. Yeah. That's one thing.
I think that's a great answer. I think like that's something, even Sean and I were saying, like all of our workouts, we never want to do them, but it's just like, it's not a choice. I think it's just part of the operating system on the day to day, week to week, month to month, and so on.
But to do that though, to get into the part where you're like, it's not a decision. And then to the other thing about, I remember my other thing that I thought about is like, how do you show up? Like for me, the group setup was really helpful. I remember the first time I did a snatch test, which is 100 kettlebell snatches. To be clear, 100 kettlebell snatches in 5 minutes. And there's some, can we use names?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So there like Val is someone else who goes to the kettlebell club, and then I was paired up with her to do the kettlebell snatch test, and her doing it and watching her model being locked in helped me. So I think being in a team situation is super helpful because it's like, it's just like, oh, they're going, okay, I'm going. So then the pace, and then I realized I'm also an adrenaline junkie. So my adrenaline system works really well for me as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I two things. One, I just love that before you said the snatch test, you had the best like turn to the camera office moment of all time. That was incredible. And then I think the other one that I just think that you hit on the head that we've talked about, Matt and I think is so important is turning like, whatever the fitness routine that you have, instead of it being an occurrence, it becomes a recurrence. And to your point, just automating that process. And I think to your point, I think a lot of people in the fitness industry make it seem really easy at times of like, well, just show up and it'll happen. Just show up and it'll happen. And I think to your point, which is so good, that doesn't take into account the anxiety of wanting, like showing up and the time it takes to build a habit, because habits take a long time to build, and yeah. I think, one of the things that I've noticed in the time that we've worked together that I think, I'm so appreciative of how you conduct yourself is that you show up, I think, a lot of days without expectations of a perfect performance, and you come in and listen to your body. And I think in that way, really, I think sometimes a lot of people who have been in like an F45 model or an Orange Theory, the expectation is like 110% every day, or you wasted your time. And I just want to say, like, it's been really neat to see you navigate the realities of the challenges that life presents itself with, how the body's feeling, how the mind's feeling, extenuating circumstances we can't control, dog stuff, and just still saying, I'm going to find a way to show up in some capacity, irregardless of how that manifests itself in the workout. And I think you do a better job of that than most people that, we get to work with. And I think it's such a commendable thing. And I know that was a long process. And I think to your point, which was a good one, it takes a lot of self-awareness and self-reflection to get to that point, because you have to know your body. How, I think that's another big thing is for you, especially thinking about how your body exists in a space that at times doesn't feel very conducive to your body. How have you kind of reconcile like yourself in kind of the fitness space and how you want to kind of inhabit it, I think is maybe the question I'm posing.
There, I wanted to respond to your point first before the question. I think it's like the self-modulation also comes from like your relationship with your coach
Yeah.
and your trust with your coach.
Yeah.
Because they have to model and catch. And we're not gonna say that there weren't problems because we like overdo stuff. You just don't know. Like you also have to give your coaches some grace because they're not in your body, they don't know.
Yeah.
So they don't catch everything.
Mhm.
And they feel bad when you get injured. They feel really bad. And then the other thing I think is like this is anti-CrossFit, so that's what I liked about it. Yeah. Myself in fitness space. We're rare. Big people who move are rare. And it's awkward being in fitness spaces. But like I said, this place is just like you guys deal with people as they come, so I feel safe here. I think the one time I was in other fitness space was at StrongFirst.
Yeah.
And it was cool because there were other people who didn't look like the norm of what you would imagine a fitness person looking like. So that was cool to see. And I think the more we can see of people not looking like an action figure doing cool stuff is inspiring. So, and I don't just mean overweight. I mean like skinny people, any type of people who don't look like an action figure. I think it's really helpful to see them demonstrate strength. And I think that's what, I think the thing that Matt, you talk a lot about is performance. So like focusing on that over other things. So,
yeah. One of my favorite taglines is ability over aesthetics. Yeah. And the more able you are, the more able you become, the more exciting, I think, at least in my opinion, it becomes to continue to show up and be like, wow, I was only able to do this last week. Now I'm able to do this week. And I think that's been very fun to see how you've embraced that for sure.
I think the thing that, you could maybe speak a little about that's really interesting is that you say that like the more you work on this journey, the old you will inevitably die. That's been your tagline. I think you should speak a little bit more about that because it's really interesting.
Sure. Yeah. I think, Sean and I, one of our mentors, for us and him to us, but as this guy, Dan John, who he says he has two main goals, which is be able to wipe his own butt when he's in his 90s and be able to dance at his granddaughter's wedding, which like I broadly think, and Sean and I are on the same page about this, is that like, again, it doesn't really matter what you do as long as you do something. And in doing something, you are more able and you are more able for longer. Broadly, with modern medicine, average life age is around 85 to 90-ish, give or take. And the thing is unless we get some crazy drugs here in the near future, that's not going to change too much. But the thing is hey, can you be in great quality of health until that final day? Versus last 5, 10, 15 years, the decay starts at any point, but you can stave that off or to a fairly significant degree just through the consistent work. And that's why the thing is with ability over aesthetics is as you worry more and more about aesthetics, your ability often can crash from that. I know from my experience when I wrestled and I cut weight, a whole bunch of weight to get ready for a wrestling match, I was much less able. And that's a very extreme circumstance. But, even now if I'm trying to lose weight for a role or something like that, I know that my strength ability decreases. And if I also at the same turn, if I gain a lot of weight to try to bulk up for something, there's also a point where certain ability decreases. And I think a broad thing Sean and I talk about all the time is this idea of the middle path. That is the path you can walk for an extended period of time and where you can get a little bit better, a little bit faster, a little bit stronger every day with each progressive step. And then that staves off that decay, which will inevitably happen to everybody, but it staves off the extreme amount of that for a little bit longer.
Yeah. As you were saying that, I was just thinking about like different things. And then one thing I was like, characterizing anybody's fitness journey is like you kind of get past the no turning back.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it takes a long time to get there, right? It's like slowly, I build enough knowledge, I build enough this and this, and then all of a sudden one day I'm like, oh, I have awareness of stuff I didn't realize. Oh, I've been around this long enough, and then there's almost like there's no turning back. It's like that the curve. It just kind of, that's how it feels like. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, now I'm way more in tune because I've spent enough time hammering at stuff. And the thing that we did not mention, which is like, I think it's important, is injuries are great for learning. They suck for our mental health, and like we may blame ourselves because I got injured twice. Once from doing strong first stuff, so my shoulder couldn't move, and the other was doing hula dancing. I screwed up my knees, and both times I think were really good opportunities to step back. I think that's going back to what you were talking about, Sean. Like, how can I step back? It's well, because I hurt myself twice.
Yeah.
And I had to step back when I didn't want to.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I don't want to hurt myself again. Okay, I'll just do what I can now. And then also then not having the discipline to go like, well, is that me taking a step back, or am I not pushing myself enough? So that's like a really fine-tuned thing that I think dealing with injuries, we get more experience in, and that helps with that. So
I always think when it comes to the injury stuff, it's a step laterally than a step backwards.
Yeah.
Where now I have to take a step to the right, so I'm forced to go and explore something else.
Yeah.
But then that results in me being able to move forward, rather than the common thing with injuries is, oh my God, I'm knocked back so far.
Yeah.
And it's just continue on this particular trajectory. I'll move over here for now, get all this knowledge, which then I can bring back to that previous situation.
Well, I think what's interesting was this last time I messed up my knee. Well, and then it was a whole systems thing. And then because of that, we're like, oh, let's make it strong. So now we're like PRing and deadlifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so the injury is a gift. It's a teacher. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think the words that stuck with me that you mentioned, Jen, which is such a great one, and I think it's emblematic of some of the things you've talked about, is that idea of inertia and just putting yourself in that inertia cycle. To your point of and Matt, to yours too. Instead of a step back or a full stop, it's just a left step, which is still not positive or negative, but movement nonetheless, right? And being non-judgmental about what that step looks like relative to where you think you should be going, which is a whole other conversation.
And just show up. We can always do something,
right? Yeah. And I think one of the last things I just wanted to touch on was this obviously isn't going to apply to everyone or anyone, but Jen, for you, if there was somebody who is like, how do I take that first step, or how do I put myself into that pattern of inertia, given the journey that you've had thus far, with all of the different nuances of what that journey is encapsulated by, what's something that from your journey and speaking personally, you might tell them or say in regards to that?
So the question is, if someone doesn't want to start, how do you start?
Or if they're on the board.
In plain speak?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
In plain speak? The first, find something you like and do it. Yeah. And if there's nothing you like, find some people you like to be around and do things with them.
Yeah.
or find people you want to become and then hang out with them.
Yeah.
And while they do active things that you may want to do.
That's, I think, a pretty good end note to this
cool
rendition.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's awesome.
Well, thank you very much. This was really great, and it's fun to get to talk about this stuff sort of outside of the gym, but in reference to it. And it's always nice getting towards our 2-year anniversary mark here to get to look back and and see and celebrate where we started from and where we've gotten to and where we get to go.
And also, Jen, just thank you so much for offering your perspective. I think, again, like to your point, a lot of straight white superhero looking dudes talking about fitness, and that is the last thing we need more of. You know what I mean? So
toxic ones, and it's because there's so many. It's easy to think every person who is a cisgender white male is toxic.
Yeah,
and that's not true. That's not true. So.
We're doing our best.
All right.
Doing our best. Breaking the cycle.
Yeah. Same here. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jen. And as of this recording, we'll see you first thing tomorrow morning.
my God. Bye.
All right. See you
See,
tomorrow.
I didn't
good.
wanna-
See you soon.
All right.
Bye.